Just take this soundtrack, replace it with the Signs soundtrack. You got yourself a horror movie, guys.
Well, it is kind of scary. Like, it makes that boom, 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 boom when they see him out in the field.
Ugh, I just got...
Yeah,
God.
I know. And then they flip the lights on, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
This is a ghost movie.
This is a ghost movie, man.
Like, this is spooky.
Well, hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Confused Breakfast Podcast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
I do.
It's hard to beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your house.
I do.
But there was something truly special about leaving your Little League baseball game to head to Blockbuster to pick out a movie by hand and watch when you got home. On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. I'm your host, Mike Schulte. Joining me, as always, two dudes who love baseball and ASMR. Shaun Pryor and AJ Venz, how the heck are you?
How'd you know?
Yeah, buddy.
Because you love this movie and you love when they're whispering
If you
stuff.
take a baseball, whatever that's made out of, right?
Yep.
And you got like long fingernails and you tap on it, I'll fall asleep 5 minutes.
I hate it.
Yeah.
If you hold a baseball up to your ear, you can hear the Field of Dreams.
That's right.
Did you
That's
know that?
right. We should talk about that.
We should talk about that
We should
more.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, boys, on today's episode, we discuss one of the best baseball movies of all time, a movie starring the good version of Kevin Costner
Yeah.
Thank God.
that was nominated for 3 Oscars. We are inside the house where this movie was filmed right now. We are, of course, talking about 1989's Field of Dreams.
Well, damn dang it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with the Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are in the world. Take it away, boys.
If you build it, I'll come.
I will come.
Cutting that out.
So hard. I'll come
Well-
so hard.
Well, if you are new to this podcast, we're going to be reviewing Field of Dreams scene by scene with a modern eye.
That's me.
But in order to do that properly, we must first discuss it with pure nostalgia. Start with you, AJ.
Uh-oh.
Tell us the first time you saw this movie, what your thoughts were, and what your nostalgic rating was.
This movie is like, we live in Iowa, okay? We don't live far from the Field of Dreams, okay? I know in our videos we're going to say we drove like 1,000 miles. But in reality, we live about an hour and a half away from the Field of Dreams. And I remember my dad bringing me back a baseball from the Field of Dreams from the little souvenir stand that was here.
The old one.
And it was in a plastic baseball box, like, you know, the clear baseball box. Beforehand, I had seen pieces and parts of Field of Dreams, and I just thought I was enamored by very few parts, and then the rest of it I was like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. So this movie was made the year I was born. By the time I watched it, it wasn't a huge thing to me necessarily. So I will tell you right now that this movie, growing up, that baseball is a saving grace, so that's going to allow me to give it a 5.8.
5.8. Shaun, what about you, man?
All right, yeah, pretty much kind of similar. I grew up with this movie. We watched it all the time in my household. I remember coming here to the old souvenir stand that they had, and I got a mini Field of Dreams bat for like the little kids. Yeah, I remember James Earl Jones. I remember my mom like telling me, like that's the voice of Darth Vader. Or yeah,
Your mom just ruins movies.
she does. She's like, say Harrison Ford's hot, and that's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know? And then
Thanks.
yeah, she was like, yeah, obviously that's the blind guy in Sandlot and everything. And
Thanks, Mom.
but I mean, you know, like it's someone's got to be
He's
that
blind.
person, and I got it out early. I was kind of like AJ also in the fact that I was like, oh, it's Iowa, and that's where I'm from. But I don't really understand it. Who's the old guy he's talking to? I don't really know. I don't really care. So 5.2 for me, I'm going to say.
5.2. Boys, I definitely saw this as a kid. Didn't think much of it, but then my family moved in 1995 to Iowa from St. Louis, Missouri. And I think I've told this story before. We moved in like April. So we didn't have enough time to like make friends at school, me and my brother. So that summer, like my mom and dad were forced to do a lot of things for me and Tom, just to be like, we got to go on adventures because you have no friends right now, and we're sorry we moved you to shitty Iowa.
This place sucks.
Yes, and one of the trips we did was we drove up to the Field of Dreams and walked around and checked the sights out. And I've got a picture of me with a butt cut and like probably some Jinko jeans on. Going whatever.
I can't rollerblade here.
That's exactly what it was.
Mom, I can't bring my blades.
I can't blade the bases.
But I do have a fond memory of definitely coming here. It's seared into my brain, that trip up here. The movie's kind of frightened by the ghosts a little bit, like the ghost voices. It's kind of a
ghost
terrifying
story,
moments in this. Yeah. Not enough actual baseball. I was a huge baseball fan at the time, so I'm going to give it a 6.5 nostalgic.
There you go.
Executive producer Josh Miller on the show with us today. He said, I had a tough time choosing this over Airplane, as my birthday falls on the day the Airplane review airs, and it's an amazing movie. Clearly, I chose baseball. I honestly don't think I saw this in theaters. I can't remember when I saw it for the first time not long after its release. It has easily become one of my most loved movies. Thinking back on it, I don't think I could ever really fully grasp the deeper meaning of the plot, but I knew I loved the overall premise, at least what a 12-year-old could understand. I have seen this movie numerous times, but it's easily been well over 5 to 8 years since my last watch. Kevin Costner had himself a time in the mid-90s, but you guys have discussed this at length. One thing is true, the dude can make baseball movies. Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and while not nearly as popular, For Love of the Game might be his best when strictly talking about baseball. I can hear the collective groans of the confused reckless listeners. Bull Durham is a way better movie.
Bull Durham.
Sure, it may be a better movie, but not a better baseball movie. Baseball was my favorite sport, still is. I played a lot of sports as a kid. I played baseball, football, basketball, field events, shot put, javelin. I skied, both snow and water, raced motocross, but it always came back to baseball.
Jock. Look at me.
I'm a big tough guy.
I'd rather play baseball, watch baseball, talk about baseball. I was better at almost all of the above, but baseball was the most fun to me. That being said, my memory, nostalgically, I want to score this thing really high, but if I compare it to other baseball movies of the time, it probably falls behind because of the nature of the plot and my age group. I really found Angels in the Outfield, Rookie of the Year, Little Big League more fun for me.
Yep.
And then the more grown-up baseball movies, Major League, A League of Their Own, Mr. Baseball, were more exciting. So nostalgically, I'm giving this movie a 7.5. Fellas, that takes us to a 6.25 nostalgically. That's pretty low. That is tied with The Burbs in the 89th spot.
Nostalgic.
Nostalgically is where that is tied.
I'm just making sure that's nostalgically for The Burbs, because The Burbs is
we
way
were
better than
scared of The Burbs the first time we saw
It's
it.
true. It's very true.
It was a scary movie.
I mean, this I'm glad you brought that up in your thing too. Like it was
kind
scary.
of frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to strip away all that nostalgia. We're going to give this a modern day rating. So we got to start with Shaun. We got to learn all the pertinent, important details of the movie. Shaun, what do you got?
Oh God, it's time. Let me pull this up real quick. 8, 2.
I thought you were ready.
Here we go. Produced by Charles and Lawrence Gordon. Based off the book by W.P. Kinsella. Music by James Horner. Cinematography by John Lindsay. John Lindsay Jr. He actually did a couple cool horror movies. One, Killer Party, was like one of his first movies. It's just like a cheesy, like 80s sleazy movie that I love. The Stepfather is a great kind of I think I mentioned it in another episode before, but it's kind of like the Shia LaBeouf one where he's house ridden.
Oh yeah,
housebound.
Transformers,
like Disturbia.
Yeah, Disturbia. It's like that.
Transformers.
He also did Father of the Bride, Sneakers, Pleasantville, You've Got Mail, and Mr. Brooks.
Why has he got to be so creepy?
I don't know.
Even You've Got Mail's kind of creepy.
Kind of is.
Like it's kind of
He
stalkerish.
fucked over Meg Ryan's life.
Oh yeah,
But she still loves him.
Well, at least it's got Tom Hanks.
Edited by Ian Crawford and written and directed by Phil Alden Robinson. Cast: Kevin Costner, Amy Madigan. Don't know when she'll be happy again. Gabby Hoffman, Ray Liotta, Timothy Bushfield, Burt Lancaster, Frank Whaley, Dwyer Brown, Steve Easton, Art LaFleur, and James Earl Jones.
Tell me that
You've been waiting for that one.
Tell me you've never heard that before and that you made that up.
I made it up.
God, that's really awesome. People right now are rewinding to go, why are they laughing?
Like, what was it
We're
laughing
almost,
at?
we're almost 3 years in, man.
No,
Like,
don't be
fuck yeah, I made
happy
that up.
again.
Damn, bro.
Oh, no.
All right. Writer-director
Have a
Phil
good time.
Robinson read and loved the book Shoeless Joe by W.B. Kinsella and wanted to adapt the story into a script. As Robinson was looking for producers and studios to back the project, it wasn't looking likely because the subject matter was too esoteric. Robinson went ahead and wrote the script anyway with Kinsella as a consultant. Producers Lawrence and Charles Gordon, who were at Fox, had left the studio and set up at Universal. Robinson brought the script to the filmmakers, and the studio accepted the task of production. Originally called Shoeless Joe, the title changed to Field of Dreams per the studio, and casting was underway. Speaking of You've Got Mail, Tom Hanks was originally up for the part for Ray Kinsella. Hanks read and really liked the script, but turned the part down. Kevin Costner then got a hold of this hold of the script and even offered to help with production along with playing the main character, as Kevin Costner will do. He was like, "Yeah," because it was a first-time director as well for Paul Robinson.
Yep.
Right. Phil Robinson.
Phil.
And so I imagine he was like, "I got your back, buddy. If you guys
got
like,
you.
I Waterworld, I'm about to do that."
It's
About to do
basically
a movie
like
called Waterworld.
I think it's somehow the opposite. They're like, okay, hey, Tom Hanks, he's still reading it. It's like, oh no, guys, I just heard that Kevin Costner got a hold of the script. What? Oh no! You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna take the part and he's gonna produce the thing.
Yep.
So Kevin Costner got hold of the script and was helping out. Amy Madigan, when's she going to be happy again, was a fan of the book and joined the cast. James Earl Jones, not the second time apparently, no one liked it, was actually the person Robinson had in mind for the role of Terrence Mann as he was writing the script. Ray Liotta had the sense of danger Robinson was looking for in Shoeless Joe. Principal photography began on May 25th, 1988. Filming went off with relative ease except for the production having to wait for the corn they planted around the baseball field to grow, which then grew too fast and too tall, causing it to engulf Costner in some of his shots, in which they had to lay down a wooden plank for him to stand on. The film was shot mostly in Dubuque County, right here in Dyersville, Iowa. Galena, Iowa was used for Minnesota, and the production spent 1 week in Boston for the Fenway Park scenes. Field of Dreams was released on May 25th, 1989, and on a budget of $15 million, the film made a whopping $84.4 million at the box office. Was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, and Best Picture. That's all I got.
Well, thanks, Shaun. We got to move on to AJ now. He does the research for us, gives us the ratings and reviews from critics and fans alike. What do you got, man?
They may be growing corn out here in Iowa, but here in Confused Breakfast Land, we're working with the tomato meter.
I can hear the ghost outside.
The tomato meter.
That was a bad joke. Thanks, guys.
You did really great.
88%
Ooh.
certified fresh.
That is tied with The Matrix in the 36th spot.
Wow.
Per the
The
critics.
Matrix.
The Matrix.
In the
Matrix.
Field of Dreams.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. There's something to compare there. Audiences are pretty much in agreement here at 86%, and IMDb is going to come in at a 7.5.
7.5, boys. Tied with Beetlejuice, Batman, and The Warriors. Per
Okay.
IMDb is where this
Pretty
falls
good
in.
company.
Some Tim Burton, some Walter Hill. All right. Phil
Just
Robinson.
throwing it out there.
Yeah, those are people.
Yep.
So I feel like 7.5 is like the
You
most
fucking
like
plebe.
it's oh, I know directors. Oh, Tim Burton. 7.5 to me is like oh man, did you see that movie? Whereas like 7 was like that's a movie.
Seven's like, it wasn't bad.
That was
for
a
IMDb,
movie.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Critics out here. I'm gonna go ahead and start near the bottom. Rolling Stone. This is Peter Travers. He had this to say. To be honest, I started hearing things too. just when Jones was delivering an inexcusably sappy speech. Got Shaun on something.
Got me. That's great.
Inexcusably sappy speech about baseball being a symbol of all that was once good in America. I heard the words, "If he keeps talking, I'm walking."
Peter Travers, man.
Peter Travers did
doesn't
not
like anything.
enjoy this movie. He gave it a 12 out of 100. That's
Wow.
a 1.2 out of 10, guys. We've also got the Washington Post. They gave it a 50. This was Desson Thompson saying, the movie may steal a base here and there, but there are no homers.
Or is there?
Or
Yeah.
maybe
I don't know.
there is.
Sports.
Actually,
Sports
is there?
ball.
Yeah, that's what I said. Is there?
I don't think there is a single homer.
Technically,
in
I
this
think there is one that gets hit into the
I
corner.
mean, whatever. I don't care.
Jesus. So you asked.
Peter Travers and all his cool friends.
Ooh, Washington Post.
movie.
Okay.
To
Well,
be honest, I started hearing whispers as well.
as well. We got Rajib coming in here.
Hell
he gave
yeah.
this a hundy out of a full hundy.
Hell
Wow.
yeah, he did.
He said it's a religious picture, all right, but the religion is baseball. And when he doesn't understand a spoken message, Ray is granted a vision of a baseball diamond right there in his cornfield. He says this: as Field of Dreams developed this fantasy, I found myself being willingly drawn into it. Movies are often so timid these days, so afraid to take flights of the imagination, that there's something grand and brave about a movie where a voice tells a farmer to build a baseball diamond so that shoeless Joe Jackson can materialize out of the cornfield and hit a few fly balls. This is the kind of movie Frank Capra might have directed and James Stewart might have starred in, a movie about dreams. One of my favorite things he mentioned in this review was that the movie sensibly never tries to make the slightest explanation for the strange events that happen after the diamond is constructed. He goes on to say, Field of Dreams will not appeal to the Grinches and Grouches and realists. It is a delicate movie, a fragile construction of one goofy fantasy after another, but it has the courage to be about exactly what it promises. If you build it, he will come. And he does.
All right. That's funny. It's like he mentions Frank Capra and Jimmy Stewart. I think Jimmy Stewart, they wanted him to play Burt Lancaster's part of Moonlight,
Yeah.
Graham. And I think, well, when Tom Hanks was reading it, he said this will be like, this is probably going to be like this generation's.
He kind of knew it already.
What's the
Miracle,
James Stewart? Oh my God, Christmas movie. I was just
Wonderful Life.
A Wonderful Life,
It's a
yeah.
Wonderful Life.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I got a few audience reviews here. This is in 1999. This is a 10 out of 10. Pure Magic, said Evan35. He's probably Evan 56 now.
No way.
Field of Dreams. It is a magical and enchanting film. It treats baseball like religion, and rightly so. Burt Lancaster really shines in one of his last films. In fact, all the actors shine, and so does the script. I seldom cry during movies, but I did during the end. It made me feel like a kid again, and I'm only 17.
I'm 12. Like
Contrary to your screen name, sir.
he was born in 35.
He is. Oh my God, did he come back for the Field of Dreams? He's got a dream, and it includes baseball, so he's got back from the dead. These are all ghosts that we're going to be talking about. It's kind of a
Honestly-
creep show.
Honestly, that's something I haven't thought about while we do this show.
Yeah?
People who review these movies, they could be dead now.
They might be dead. Well, this person's only 17. Was only 17.
Still.
I hope not.
All right.
Mike, how old were you in 1999?
99, I was 17.
Was this you? Oh, man. Never mind. 5 out of 10. The best baseball movie ever? That's hard. Said Barney, 13. What's with everybody just like it? Maybe this was 1999. Like they just did like first name and then like
or
a
it was
number.
your jersey number,
or like
maybe
they're like,
was
well, I was number 13 for junior high
Lucky
baseball.
13.
So many of the times it was like someone's favorite baseball player number.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Michael Jordan, 23.
23, duh. It has been called the best baseball movie ever. So that means it beats such classics as the women's baseball film starring Madonna. And that's about the closest baseball film to it. So it sure is the best baseball movie ever, but it's still only worthy of 5 out of 10 at best. So you can't name the other baseball movie.
Nope, there's only one other baseball movie
that starred Madonna.
It's the one that's got Madonna in it.
It wasn't better than the one with Madonna in it. Duh.
I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't better than that.
That goes to show you. It wasn't better than that. This is a 1 out of 10, guys. This is the last one I got for you. This is Orwellian Wires in 2022. Said overrated, outlandish, and less than okay. I seriously do not understand the love that this movie gets. It is pretty much the generic, uplifting, feel-good movie on drugs. The plot is absolutely nonsensical and confusing, but somewhat predictable. The main characters are absolutely insane, and there are no stakes in the movie. It is beyond me how this was nominated for an Oscar.
3.
Trace. We're about to tell you why.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, boys, here's how I know I'm getting older. I love the simple things in life. Simple things that they allow me to stay home, right? Not leave the house. That is what I love as I'm getting older. Being able to learn how to cook properly and feed my family has been just that for me. Our longtime sponsor, Every Plate, has been the gift that keeps on giving. Every Plate is a home-delivered meal service that has 26 tasty and affordable recipes that change every week, so it's easy to find something flavorful and satisfying for every meal of the day, not to mention the 22 convenient sides, lunches, snacks, desserts, and more for add-ons. Not only do I love these easy-to-follow step-by-step recipes, but they taste absolutely incredible too. My wife is genuinely impressed with how it tastes and how good I've been at like making these meals. She goes to put my little baby girl down. I pop in some headphones. I start cooking. Voila, dinner is served, and I'm the hero of the house. But almost more importantly, we are saving major money. Every Plate, America's best value meal kit, is 25% cheaper than grocery shopping with no hidden fees. So you can count on great value week after week. Plus, only pay for what you need. That's the best part. You go to the store, not only are you saving money by not going to the store, but you're not wasting food.
Yeah.
Because they're giving you pre-portioned ingredients. And it's 50% cheaper than your average fast casual meal. That is pure insanity. I've talked about how skeptical I was about meal kits, but now I'm convinced you can get the same deliciousness at a much lower price, saving money, saving time spent in the grocery store, and feel like I accomplished something. This is a no-brainer. Join me, join AJ, join Shaun, and get $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com/podcast and entering code 49confused. Remember, get started with Every Plate for $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com/podcast, entering 49confused. That is a $110 value just because you listen to this podcast.
That's huge.
Try it.
Love it.
Well, boys, people will listen. They'll hit play on a movie podcast from Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll hit play not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll queue up an episode and listen, as innocent as children longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you listen to more, we'll say. It's free, but we'd love for you to join our Patreon top tier for $10. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it, for it is money they have and entertainment they lack. And they'll get to listen to bonus episodes on a perfect afternoon. They'll find that they get to vote on upcoming movies that they're dying for us to cover. Movies that they loved when they were children. They'll listen to us cover their favorite childhood movie, and it'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic water. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will listen, boys. The one constant through all the years has been movies. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again, but movies have marked the time. These films, these actors, it's a part of our past, boys. It reminds us all that once was good and can be good again. Oh, people will listen, boys. People will most definitely listen. If you podcast, they will listen. Here we go.
And the Oscar goes to...
I'm stricken with goose pimples.
So
Right
scene
next to the
one,
window.
boys. Ray Kinsella is an Iowa farmer living with his wife, Annie, and their young daughter, Karen. While walking through the cornfield, Ray hears a voice that he can't explain. After stewing on it, he thinks he's supposed to build a baseball field in his corn. Annie is skeptical, but eventually agrees, and Ray spends their life savings turning a portion of the cornfield into a baseball field. Can we talk about this intro?
Yeah.
This intro, you've got old classic Kevin Costner before he learned to sniff. You've got unbelievable storytelling like this. I'm assuming that this probably came right out of the book. The lines that Kevin Costner's character is saying here. You've got a little bit of humor mixed into this, like beautiful, vivid storytelling. You know, my father died a little when they lost the 1919 World Series. He died a lot the following summer when 8 men were accused of throwing the series. Right. Anybody that's a sports fan can relate to that statement. We moved to Iowa and stayed with her family as long as we could. A full afternoon.
About a full afternoon.
A few years later, Karen was born. She smelled weird, but we loved her anyway.
Yeah.
Like it reminds me of just like such a great storyteller, and I'm all in at this point in this movie. Just going, this is funny. This is cool. Like, where are we going at this point?
One of my favorites is I tried to like sitar music. It's like
we smoked a little grass. We tried to like sitar music.
It's like I feel like what happens when you listen to sitar music. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm not ever going to actively choose to listen to this.
I think that's what roots out the real hardcore hippies. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, you're not a true hippie.
the ones that never
Berkeley,
made it back
yeah.
like sitar music.
Correct.
Once you go to sitar, it's hard to come back.
You don't stand back up.
Yeah.
Tar. Yeah, no, it reminds me of the scene in Coneheads where they do like the Kodachrome. I forget who sings it, but the Kodachrome song where like the Coneheads they're like it's that like 16 millimeter film, and it's like the montage of the family like catching you up a little bit.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
It reminds me of that so much. And yeah, I do like the like homespun, like kind of home shot ish kind of aspect. Like this could have been like one of their film reels that they shot like while growing up, you know. It does kind of get you into like especially the middle America kind of family ish, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and so I think this also proves another great point, guys, that I know that there's plenty of sayings, you know, once you go sitar, you never, you know, sit down again. You like what you're saying. Stand back, stand R2. But I think this is something to be said. Once you make it with an Iowa girl, you'll never need to do anything else in your life.
Yeah,
apparently.
Daddy.
Because Iowa girl locks it down from a Berkeley, Cali, coast to coast boy.
Not only does she lock him down, but she says we should move to Iowa.
We should come back to Iowa.
I guess so.
And here we are. And I think it speaks to the unsung hero of this movie anyways, is probably Amy Madigan.
You think so?
Hopefully she'll be happy again.
One of these days.
Yeah. One of these days she will be. But yeah, I think it proves a point here about her. You know, she's probably the unsung hero of this movie. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So we did speak about it a little bit, how kind of terrifyingly frightening the voices are.
Yeah.
The way it sounds, the whisper of it, you can tell it's like all encompassing. Like it's not coming from a direction. He's hearing it like inside of his head.
He doesn't know where it's coming from.
Yes, he has no clue where that's coming from. And the score is pretty impressive in this movie. Like it's kind of like a low end thump whenever something kind of bad and scary is happening. Do you know who the voice was? Did you guys read up on this at all?
It's up for debate. is from what I hear.
It sounds like it's still a mystery.
It's the voice is credited as himself.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a capital H, which maybe religiously is referring to God, like a voice of God. But so they think W.P. Kinsella thinks it's Ed Harris.
Because he was married to, he still is, Amy Madigan. Hopefully she's happy again sometime.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, maybe like there's some affecting going on there, maybe. But others speculate that it was actually either Ray Liotta, Timothy Busfield, or Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
But it kind of sucks. Like I want to know who it was,
or even Phil Robinson himself.
Yeah. I honestly, I think that I know this is just a lot of speculation, but it's just where my mind kind of wants to go on this subject, is that it's actually probably all of them, and they kind of just ran them all together, because there are times throughout the movie it sounds like a different person.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the same person all the time, even when it's the same phrase that's being said. Like it doesn't sound like the same person all the time, and sometimes it doesn't even sound like the same person in the same phrase.
Yes.
It sounds like at the end of it gets deeper, or the first part is a little higher, you know? It's really
layered.
interesting.
It's almost a
It's
layered
very
voice.
layered.
Because even when after we meet Shoeless Joe, he's like, there's more of us in there.
Yeah.
Like there's more of them. Like assuming maybe that it's one of them talking to Ray.
Okay.
You know, it could be one or more.
It's sort of implied, kind of, when we get to the end that Shoeless Joe is the one that orchestrates this whole thing.
Right.
It's kind of implied that way. So maybe it was him. Maybe it was really Ray Liotta's voice.
Yeah.
I mean, you would
say.
think if it's implying that it is him, then Ray would do it. But
Yeah.
who knows? Like it's still up for debate. Like,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
kinda like
something.
it.
It's something Phil Robinson was like, I think we're never gonna.
I
want
to know, but I also kind of like that.
It is better that you don't know. It is better.
Oh, it's just some guy that worked at Casey's down the road. We just got him out.
And
there
you
and
know
gave him a
what? That would
microphone.
be as amazing of a story. The day that somebody actually finds out
that guy
they
would have talked.
Exactly. You're right. But to find out it was some guy that they got from like the grocery store because they had to go pick up something because the catering didn't show up, and they're like, "Hey, you got kind of a neat voice. Will you just come and do a voiceover real quick? We're just gonna save it for later." And then that's what happens. You know?
Yes.
The guy who did it doesn't even know. That would be hilarious.
So
right?
he just like. Do farmers? I mean, like we are from Iowa. I actually don't even know like anybody who even owns a cornfield in Iowa.
The corn owns you.
That's very true. It's a saying here. You guys should get used to it.
Yep. In Iowa, corn owns you.
Yeah.
Corn farms you.
Do people go out in the middle of their cornfield and just like listen?
I don't think so. He's
Shit.
doing something.
He's
He's out there doing
He's
something.
got a shovel,
Is he like
which
post
doesn't
holding
mean anything either.
No.
So it's not like that adds anything to like the meaning of why he's standing in the middle of his cornfield. He might be inspecting crop. I don't know, but he's got a shovel.
Keep in mind, he was from the 60s. He might be high on acid at this point. Like maybe
true.
he's talking to it. Maybe he's just out there
Like,
going, come
like
on.
Madigan,
corn."
hopefully she's happy again in the future, says she, like, maybe it's you from the future who hasn't done, who is doing acid right now, talking to you.
Oh, shit.
She's very open-minded.
She's very
About all of
open-minded.
this.
It's probably
a
like,
hell of a wife.
if you build it, he will come. And she's like, are you talking to me? Because he already did. We have a kid. Like, you know what I mean?
Right in there.
You
And
guys
that's
see
sort
that?
of the opposite.
See
Like
that?
you want to, yeah.
If you
Build
build
come
it,
to build it.
yeah.
Shanice,
This is ridiculous.
Shanice, man. I mean, hey, I would.
No, keep going.
Why not?
Well, hold on. Let's consult the Jarrett Layoff actor database.
All right,
Okay,
all right.
of
I got
all the
one.
movies we have done, there is one actor that has been in that this movie puts them on the top. Does anybody know who it is?
This movie puts them on the top.
The top of any actor in this movie.
Yeah.
It's 4 movies.
4 movies.
This actor's now been in 4 movies.
So Kevin Costner is 2.
Yep.
Only 2. We just mentioned her.
Madigan is
Amy Madigan's
just 2.
2.
Same with Gabby Hoffman, the daughter. They were both in the same exact year. They were in
Yep.
Field of Dreams and Uncle Buck.
Then
Pretty
Uncle
awesome.
Buck.
May 5th was Field of Dreams. August 16th was Uncle
I have
Buck.
one that you may not have thought of.
Okay.
Stan Grossman.
No.
But you saw him?
No.
He plays Stan Grossman in Fargo. He's at the meeting where they're banning the books or whatever.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the guys that stands up and so he's 2 now. I will say that. At least.
I am going to look because I I feel like I can guess this.
I don't think you can.
You don't think so?
No.
Because you know what? I think it is.
Is that Larry Brandenburg?
I believe so.
Okay, so he was also in the Santa Claus. I don't know.
I'm
He was
gonna-
also in the Santa Claus too, so he was in 3.
No shit.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess this just out of blind. Oh no, it's definitely Larry Brandenburg.
Nope, that's who we just said. So,
I mean, sorry, it's definitely Mike Nussbaum.
no. Okay, so it's a slight bit of a trick question here, but
Okay.
it's Ben Affleck.
Oh
Ben
man.
Affleck has been stated
No.
as an extra at Fenway.
He is an extra.
Him and Matt Damon were apparently at Fenway
Yes.
as uncredited people. And so we're counting it. Jarrett's counting it, so it counts.
He's counting it. Okay,
Which
yeah.
puts Ben
He is
Affleck
the
at 4.
decider.
Which, by the way, yeah, I think at least puts him over the top. We're going to go ahead and call that.
Okay.
4 movies. Okay.
Wow.
Well, Larry
Benny.
Garbergerk,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Garblegurk,
Has 3 now. That's
Brandon
great.
Baum?
What was the third one?
Fargo, and Santa Claus.
Santa Claus in this. Wow.
Wowzers.
I like that.
I
like
like
that
I
too.
like just to get back on track a little bit though. I like
Please.
a lot the speeches that Ray is making in this, like talking about that age-old feeling of like when you transition from a kid to an adult, of like having those feelings of like looking back at your own dad or adults and feeling like they were so old. And then
Yes.
you're hitting that age and you're
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I'm the age that I thought these. He says, I'm turning into my father. I never forgave my father for getting old. He was my age, but he was ancient.
He was ancient.
And he was he's the age I am right now, and he was ancient. That is a transcendental moment in your life when you're like, man, when my dad was this age, this was happening. You know, like it's crazy.
Yeah, you know, I think about I'm just trying to think of when my dad had my my oldest brother, right? He's 40. Let's see, yeah, he'd be 44 probably this year is what he'll be, and so that means like my dad was like 20 something, 24 or something when he had our first kid. By the time he had me, it was 10 years later. He was probably my age when he had me and 4 sons. And you think about that, and then you think about the time you start recognizing, like when you're like, what, 10 years old, and you think about that, and you see your, like, I see my dad and he's 40, but I think he's somebody older. You know, when you were a kid and you saw high school kids, right? When you were like in elementary school, you're like, gosh, they're like old.
Yep.
They look like, man, those guys are like full adults, but they're like seniors in high school. And now you look down at like seniors in high school, you're like, you guys don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I love about this movie is it plays a lot on those feelings of like
it really does.
that transition moment of life and looking back and like, did I make the right decisions? Did I judge things the right way? Like that's what I really like about some of the underlying tones of this movie.
And the idea that, you know, there's that moment where he's having these visions where he's like waking up again, and he says my father never did anything spontaneous, you know, but it's because he didn't ever really know his dad.
Yes.
He didn't know his dad until, and
he chose not to know him.
And then the very sad thing
Yes.
actually about this movie is that he literally made a conscious decision to not know him, and that's a heavy thing, you know, that I think might get a little washed over from this movie. That, you know, he says it again. He's like, you know, my father died, and like he didn't know my wife, he didn't know me, I didn't talk to him again. He's never met his granddaughter, like that kind of thing. And you think about that, and that's a very, very heavy subject to just think that your dad just never did anything spontaneous or never tried to do anything remotely interesting with his life in your eyes. You know, it's fascinating.
It is. I do like that sentiment a lot, but it is also like I do get to the point to myself where I'm like, yeah, but that's it. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the only underlying aspect philosophically that this movie really has to offer.
You're right.
I mean, does it?
And I mean, like to me, it's kind of just only hammers that home really. I mean, other than living through like baseball vicariously, like as a marker of time, you know.
Yeah.
I guess that's really. I mean, like, I got it when it showed itself in the movie, and I'm like, okay, what else? And it was really nothing else for me.
I think we'll try to dissect that a little deeper, because I do think there are some other things that maybe are more subconscious, I think, than that.
The starting out of this movie, I think it was like my third watch of this. I really was like in the beginning of this movie thinking like, this is the most ridiculous idea for almost no reason other than the fact that this guy is hearing a voice and probably should just be like seeking a doctor.
Do you hear there? Apparently there was a deleted scene or two. What was the one? Apparently he went to he was getting his hearing checked.
Get his hearing checked.
That's really funny.
That is funny. Like it is funny. I love the fact that he's out there buying supplies or something, and the other farmers are like, "Who's hearing voices?" Like,
Ray's
what?
Ray's hearing voices.
Ray is like, Ray hearing voices. No, I'm not. It was a joke. You know, I just figured out somebody might know something about it. You know,
yeah. I just figured like if I wasn't hearing them, something's wrong.
Maybe
with me,
there's something wrong with me, right?
Yeah, and it is pretty cool. Like, so we are in the Field of Dreams house, like we told you, and there's something magical to me about when he finally builds that field and the lights are on and it's a baseball field, and they apparently did want to make like a wall for the outfield, and then they chose not to, and just to make it the corn, which is just such the right choice. We just got to run around the bases, throw the ball around, hit some balls at night with the lights on. Like, there is something magical about lights on at night, like on a field. I don't know what it is.
It really is, and I think we've all said it, that we're not. None of us, I don't believe, are like major baseball fans, right? Like, we're not like diehard baseball fans. Are you guys big baseball guys?
I was when I was younger. I was pretty big baseball. Like, I religiously watched baseball.
But are you doing that now?
No,
anything like that? But there's a moment there. And did you guys play like Little League as a kid?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in Iowa that was a big thing. I don't know about. Did you ever play Little League, Shaun? No.
Inside kid.
That's right. Inside kid. Sorry. Yeah, I wasn't a mud kid, but I did play some baseball. But there is something about. I didn't slide into bases. If I couldn't make it there, it was fine. I don't know how to slide.
My mother said if I get my jersey dirty, she'll kill me.
I can't slide in these pants; they'll stain. They'll stain. How do you have a lisp on the word stain? But I think what's interesting is the moment that you go to a baseball game. The moment that you're able to walk onto a field and walk the bases, run the bases, be able to hit a ball, to be able to like stand out there and like see how big it really is. You know, there's something that really takes you back almost to it could be nothing, but it takes you back. It makes you feel something. And I think that is a big deal. And think about how different this movie would be if they did in fact put a wall there. And
just wouldn't make sense.
You didn't have those players walking out of the corn. What are they going to walk through a wall?
Climbed over the wall?
Yeah, like they're going to like climb over them like weird zombies. Like, come on. No, there's something very, very special of them walking out of that corn.
100%. I do. We did kind of bring it up how Amy Madigan, hopefully she gets happy again, is a very like good supporter of him. And I just like, in a world that's normal, other than this movie, if it was like, I think this voice is trying to tell me that I need to build a baseball field for Shoeless Joe Jackson, who is dead now, and so I think that's what I'm gonna do. And if Amy Madigan was just like normal, she'd be like, no. Okay. The end.
Movie's over.
Produced by Dick Wolf.
Exactly. No, you're not doing that. That sounds fucking. But instead, she's like, that sounds like a grand idea, sweetie. Go ahead and just do that. All right. We'll see how this goes.
Like, there's a difference between like you feeling like if the conversation was like, I don't know, I just feel like my dad, he just never really did anything spontaneous with his life. You know, he just worked and that's all he ever did. I never knew him to do anything. I feel like I got to go buy a guitar. And it's like, it's fine, babe. You know what? You go buy that guitar, and in your spare time when you're not finishing the crop, you can play that guitar.
You can sit on the porch swing and learn that guitar.
Fucking difference to say, you know what? I'm going to undercut our entire, our cash crop. So I can build a vanity baseball field.
Spontaneous is like wearing pink socks on Mondays.
Exactly.
You know, it's like out in the field or something.
Like,
you know?
yeah.
Spontaneous is like, oh, I'm gonna wear my hat backwards today. You know,
I'm gonna join the pool league on Thursdays down at the bar.
Yeah,
that's spontaneous.
That's spontaneous.
Spontaneous is like randomly grabbing my wife and dipping her and kissing her. But that's it.
That's it.
And maybe something will happen later on in the night. You know, that's spontaneous. That's fun.
Yeah, it's a good
Building
time.
a baseball field is fucking crazy.
Psychotic.
And everybody and it's fun that is funny how movies are, where if you're invested in the main protagonist, you're just like, yeah, of course. And you see all the people on the road like with binoculars, like,
which I gotta believe. I gotta believe are actual Iowans.
They have
who saw the camera crew there and were like, oh my god, sweetie.
Oh, yeah. But them, you're kind of mad at him. You're like, what? Why are they judging him? Like, he's doing it for the voices, and then
he's doing it for the voices.
Yeah, like that's how you are as a viewer. You're just going, yeah, of course he's doing it.
Yeah, this has been justified to me. Hello, you don't feel the justification?
Look how cute this is. Him plowing his entire cash crop.
Telling his daughter about Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
Did you? Okay, so I'll say this before we move on. Did you guys kind of? I don't know if you read this or you heard this idea that the baseball field that's built out here, technically on this property, on the property of what he probably owns, it's about 2 acres worth of land that this baseball field takes up.
Okay.
And so you think about that, and like those 2 acres compared to like what he actually has
We're
in
assuming
corn,
he's got a giant.
He's got you think like let's just say it's like it's a decent sized farm, something around like 60 to 70 acres, right?
Okay.
So he takes up 2 of his acres worth of corn that you're getting at that time. We'll call it probably about 30, maybe 25 cents an ear. Maybe that might be generous, actually. That might be super generous. I don't know. Let's call it 20 cents an ear.
Okay.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. You're fine. The land at that time, and Ray says it at one point, it's like, yeah, it's worth like $2,200 an acre is what this land is worth.
$5,000
So
a year.
like maybe like $5,000 or something like that. On the grand scheme of things, he's doing just fine.
Oh,
If
yeah.
if five
doing
if five
just
well no and if
fucking fine.
$5,000 is gonna bankrupt you,
Yeah.
like you're not in the right.
You know what?
You're one bad year away from losing it all.
Correct. You're one bad, half season away from this just going belly up. You're going to be fine. Trust me. 2 acres ain't going to bankrupt you.
Boys, speaking of corn, we got to talk about today's episode sponsor, Cedar Ridge Whiskey.
Come on now.
The best whiskey in the entire world. When you are sitting at a place like the Field of Dreams and you got to hit baseballs on the most iconic baseball field in the world, and you're in your home state of beautiful Iowa surrounded by corn, you drink Cedar Ridge Whiskey. That's what you do. You pick their flagship bourbon and you make a little cocktail. You make a little old fashioned and you sip on that. Or you grab the American quintessential single malt, the greatest single malt ever made. And maybe you just pour that over rocks. Just like one big cube to just bring that flavor out and just cool that burn down a little bit. Or maybe you talk to the other Iowa staple, Slipknot, and you ask them what whiskey they drink.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And what whiskey they collaborate with. It's Cedar Ridge. They got one called Number 9. It's incredible. Blends Ryan bourbon together. Cedar Ridge has been with us from the start. They're the only whiskey that we consume and actually enjoy, because everything else, what do you say? People equal shit? Everything else equals shit when it's compared to Cedar Ridge.
You got that right.
I'm just saying. You got to go to cedarridgedistillery.com to learn more. Get some ordered straight to your door. Find out who sells it locally. Go pick it up in a store. They are the best. We fully endorse them. cedarridgedistillery.com.
CedarRidgeDistillery.com.
As American as apple pie, baseball, so is Cedar Ridge.
Scene 2.
Distillery.com.
So Ray waits all year and nothing special happens. One night the next summer, shoeless Joe Jackson mysteriously appears and Ray plays baseball with him. Joe returns again with several deceased ballplayers from the 1919 White Sox team. Soon after, Ray is told by his brother-in-law that unless he gets rid of the baseball field and returns it to farmland, he will go bankrupt.
I do like how when he does have the vision of, he hears the voice again and he sees the vision of the
field,
the baseball field kind of implanted into his corn crop. It might as well just be like a big ass neon sign and be like, do it right here.
It's like the
Right
Beetlejuice
here.
sign.
Yes, exactly.
Live nudes, like right here. Like,
I always thought as a kid, though, because
Drive your wife nuts.
I always thought as a kid, though, because the vision, the field is actually like opposite. I always thought that's why Shoeless Joe didn't show up for a while. 'Cause he's like, Shoeless Joe's going like, you fucking did it wrong, dude.
This ain't how it was.
That's not how we.
You literally mirrored it.
I gave you
right?
the vision. That's not how you.
you got it backwards.
We'll make
It's
him
fine.
wait. We'll make him wait through a whole season, and then we'll.
You
show
know
him.
what? You know what? I'm gonna make him wait.
I'm gonna make
at
that
this
guy
point.
wait.
You know what's really funny is not only let's still play along with the movie. Obviously, like it's like not only did he undercut and till underneath his cash crop, pull up the land, all that good stuff, right? Then he installs maybe the largest drain of electricity on his property.
Yeah. Why? Wait. Time out. Actually, whoa. Hold up a second. Why is he assuming that it's gonna happen at night?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way,
Wow.
yeah.
You're a farmer who works all day through the live long day.
Yeah.
And then at night, you eat probably at 5:36. And then as a farmer, you go to bed at 7, 8.
Yes.
You go
To wake
bed
up
because
at 3 in the morning.
You need to be up. Yeah, that's like you need to be up by like 4 o'clock, right? Like at the latest is in my head to make sure that you're up and ready to do what you need to do. How? On God's green earth is this man justifying this additional expense? And I like to think he's got this on he turned on the lights. He's got them on like the entire time, just hoping like somebody's gonna show up every night, and it's just blaring through their windows, like it's keeping them up at night. Now you just find out they're actually just delirious and sleep deprived, and that's why there's these mysterious characters showing up on their property.
Man, I'll tell you what though, it is a little creepy again. This is a creepy moment to me when they
dude.
look out the window and he's just standing like, look out, turn around and look out that window. And imagine you could see a dude out on that field just standing there.
The problem is that it's pitch black
I
right
know.
now. And like if I turned out there and there's just like a guy in
glowing-
an old-timey baseball suit hanging out there, I'd say, hey, like just take this soundtrack, replace it with the Signs soundtrack. You got yourself a horror movie,
Yeah.
guys.
Well, it is kind of scary. Like it makes that boom, 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 boom when they see him out in the field.
Ugh, I just got ugh.
Yeah,
God.
I know. And then they flip the lights on. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
This is a
Well,
ghost movie.
This is a ghost movie, man.
Like this is spooky.
That's why we're doing it in spooky season.
And, you guys fucking got me. Damn it.
I mean,
Next, Children of the Corn. Ugh.
I do like that aspect of it too. I mean, like where it is, like they don't ever be like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, it's Shoeless Joe. It's like, fuck.
There's a guy. There's a man standing out there.
It's never like, but it's the right tone they go for because it is like, is this what's going on?
Can we just get a recut of Field of Dreams, but get a recut with sound spikes like with jump scare noises? Like, the moment they look out the window.
No, it's the same thing from Signs when they see him on the roof.
Yeah,
that exact same.
There is
sound.
a legit jump scare later on in this movie with James Earl Jones.
Oh, dude, like
bar none.
When the
yeah.
car turns around.
1,000%.
oh
yeah.
yeah.
That is a jump scare.
Borderline terrifying.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, dude.
What do you guys think about Ray Liotta as Shoeless Joe?
Number one,
Ray Liotta can do no wrong.
Ray Liotta as a baseball player is brilliant. Is he probably shoehorned into this role? Yes. But he's an amazing actor, and I just there's something about him. Let's be honest, guys. They're like, hey, you're going to play Shoeless Joe Jackson. Okay, well, tell me about him. Well, he's a lefty hitter. He throws right-handed. And then also he's from the South.
From New York.
Yeah, he's from the South, so he's got kind of the Southern accent.
He's
kind of a
very
quiet guy,
quiet.
very nice guy,
Very
very
nice guy,
like very mild temperament, all that sort of stuff. He's like, okay, that's great. I'll do a little research and I'll come on back. Doesn't do any research and just comes back. He's like, hey, I'm Ray Liotta. I'm here to play the part.
What are my lines?
What are my lines?
I'll
If
just
you
say
build
those.
it, he will come.
Okay.
Thanks, Ray.
Cut.
I
Print
guess we got it.
He plays this, man, like he plays this very kind of cocky. Like
Yeah.
to think he's sort of like my cat. Like he's out in the field and he sees Ray and he's like, oh, there's a guy.
Sup, bitch?
And he just goes, he's gonna hit me balls, and he just assumes he's gonna like hit balls to him. It's like my cat when he sees me walk in the kitchen, my cat just goes, food. like there's no conversation. She's
give
like,
me
you're gonna
food
give
now.
me food.
Yes, you do the thing.
You
That's
understand?
what Shoeless Joe does.
You understand our relationship, right?
Yes, you understand this, right?
You built me this house.
So you hit me
bought
fucking
to-
balls.
Shoeless.
and I am in your house now, and so you give me food. Shoeless Joe's like, you built this baseball field. Are we not gonna fucking play baseball, Ray? Throw me one of those balls.
Shoeless Joe Jackson may be the most assumptive, pretentious SOB
I agree.
ever, because he's like, because at this point you have to assume that it is Shoeless Joe who's saying, if you build it, he will come.
I don't feel like you assume that at this point.
You don't?
No, at this point you're like, oh, he came. Like Shoeless Joe's the one that will come.
But okay, fine,
Right?
But he's like, well, Shoeless Joe Jackson showed up, and he even says, he's like, I think I have to build a baseball field so that Shoeless Joe Jackson can come and play baseball.
Yes, there you go.
And he's like, awesome, he showed up. Hey, I don't have to tell you who I am. Bat balls to me.
And then also maybe throw some at me.
And then later on, when you set something on the counter, I'm going to push it off. Like, what the fuck is going on?
But also, I do think that it's good casting. I know we're kind of joking about it.
Yeah.
I do think it's good casting of especially how Phil Robinson described it when he's like, I wanted to cast him because he does have that like edgy, ominous kind of tone to him, and he really does. And speaking of the creepiness factor, it's like he's kind of unpredictable. Like you don't really does he want me to throw balls to him, and is he happy about it? Because he never smiles.
It's
like
If you
ever.
get it into the
It's-
plate, you won't.
That's very true. You know, his look or expression very rarely ever changes too much. And then Ray Liotta does have a very timeless, he has very timeless features. So, he very well could be from the 1920s, from the, early 1900s, or from the 1980s or wherever. His look is very timeless. So I think that does certainly play to the casting of it.
Yeah, I do love as well, just like the miracle moments that films have sometimes when they're just blessed,
Yeah.
When Kevin Costner is
The
he's like,
pitch.
how about you? How about try one of my curves?
Hey, see if you can hit my curve.
And he hits it, and he hits the ball bag right next to it. Was not supposed to happen. It just did it, and Kevin Costner got right out of the way.
And it
ju-
knocked the
and
ball
did the
bag
line.
over.
Yeah, it's fucking like
And Ray Liotta stayed in character.
yeah, it's great. It's like a magical moment, and it is really, really good.
We call it a lettuce moment. Is what
there
we
it is,
call
lettuce moment.
We call
Yes,
it. We
the
call it
lettuce
the
drop.
Breakfast Club lettuce drop moment.
Yeah.
We've coined that.
shirt. Put that on a shirt.
That's what we call it.
Yep.
That's
Lettuce
what we're gonna call
drop.
it.
So then finally, then Shoeless Joe comes back and brings all the other players, the 8 men out.
There are others, you know.
There are others, I freaking love their like banter. And
Great
their, like,
Bambino's back.
That's what I'm saying. The friendship of all of them.
Yes.
Art LaFleur. This is his 3rd appearance because he was also in Cobra.
That's
Yeah,
right.
buddy.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is
dude.
Art LaFleur's 3rd appearance, and like loving him going back and forth when he's like, "Hey, at least I got muscles." No, at most you got
At
muscles.
most you got muscles.
I love it, dude.
Oh, dude, it's so good. And so if we if we were going to talk about the other players, I think there's something very special about the idea that they're fully aware of what's going on.
Yes.
They aren't like ghosts who are like, "Oh, we're just back," and it's
They're-
1918, 1919, and we're just playing ball. No, they are like they know they've been dead.
They
or
lived their
something.
whole life and died.
They lived their whole
and
life.
then-
They came back as these guys at this from
Yes.
this moment in their lives, and they're able to come back and play baseball again. They're at that changing point of their life that they never got to play baseball again. And I honestly just realized why everyone is showing up at this point at the specific point of their life. When we get to Doc Graham,
Yes.
I'll elaborate.
Yeah.
Oh, I just kind of touched on that.
Don't forget that because you will.
I won't forget.
You will.
Yeah, you're right. I will forget that.
It
but
is very.
Remind him, Craig.
we need to remember that.
It's very smart in the way that it's very efficient. That we don't need much explanation about this at all. Where it's just like, yeah, they died and they just want to play baseball again.
Yeah.
That
was the best moment.
I feel it.
Best passion of their life, and they
Yeah,
want to do it
like-
again with their friends.
That's it. You don't need any more backstory than that. Like
Nope.
he built the baseball field so dead people could play on it. Like
It-
fine.
It was my favorite part that I really wanted to make mention of in Roger Ebert's review is that they don't make the probably mistake of feeling the need to explain
Yeah.
any of this. Take it for what it is. Take it for what it means to you. Move on.
I'm gonna
Either
hit.
you're in or you're out at this moment. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna hit the punchable face button.
If we were on a train to
My
go
most
punch a
punchable face
yeah,
in
I'm
this
on board.
movie is Amy Madigan, her mom.
100% on that train.
Screw this old lady. Screw her dumbass face and how she's so mean to Ray. And she's like, I really think it's rude that you make jokes at other
Try
people's
and make us
expense.
feel dumb.
Think
make
other
us
people
feel
feel
The
dumb.
move that
stupid.
she does when she walks away, she's like, but
Yeah.
like she does it as she walks away.
Exactly.
That's we're done.
Yeah.
You're not my mom anymore.
No
like
wonder-
I never want to see you.
I tried to
again.
live at your house a long time ago. I made it a full afternoon. No wonder.
Yeah.
What
I don't
your
even know
shitty
why you're
household is
here.
like.
Like-
Why are what are you holding your coin purse?
Yeah.
Think somebody's gonna steal it? You're holding it close to your body?
You've been clutching your pearls the entire time you've been here.
Get out of here.
Ugh.
I'm punching her.
I'm going to agree with you on that. Yeah.
There's
We're-
there's a couple others, but I think
Yeah.
she's the one.
I mean, I
think-
guess you could say her brother, but
Yeah,
he
he comes
No.
around.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? If
he's a good character.
if
Yeah, he is.
you know what? Yes, I think Wish Alibaba Richard Dreyfuss could very well be punched.
The one guy who played the twins in Terminator 2.
The one guy, yes, he could be punched, but I think the mom deserves it for
Yeah.
birthing him. So
yeah, there you go.
I also think that's kind of interesting upon this rewatch here is like I love how these baseball players sort of end up being like Ray's best friends.
yeah.
He's out there watching them and interacting with them, and like when they all go into they're walking away into the corn and they're like giving him shit.
Yeah.
Ray,
Oh,
Ray,
Ray's
gotta
gotta
go
go
inside. Because like I don't think Ray has any friends. Like I really
Doesn't
don't
seem
think
so. I mean,
he's
No.
he's moved
definitely
on.
not like a farmer. He's not in like the farmers guild.
No, he's the
You know?
youngest farmer around. He's got his family at home. He's not from here. He has no friends here.
Exactly.
This is kind of cool. This is sort of his
I think it's absolutely was like a misunderstanding for my younger self. Like, oh, he's just from Iowa,
Yep.
No, he's not from Iowa. This is completely foreign to him.
He said the furthest place away I could move, Iowa.
Was Iowa,
Yeah.
and it's true. When you live in a city coast, like on either of the coasts, and then you come to a town like this, if you come to small town Iowa, and it's sometimes it sucks because you do see the tropiness of small town rural America, like him being in the like the supply store. But you're right. It's like, dude, have you ever walked into one of the rural gas station, also like greasy spoon restaurants, and ever seen the old boys sitting around talking over coffee at 6:30 in the morning? It's dead on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dead on. So,
Like especially where you live, Swisher. It's, they all gather in that little supermarket thing.
Oh yeah, dude, it's hardcore, and you will get looked at weird if you walk in and you got glasses on like I'm wearing. Right. But I guess what I'm getting at is you're right. He is completely out of this. It was a misunderstanding that I thought he was from this area, but he's not. I mean, he's completely out of this. And my favorite part of that whole thing of them knowing them now is when he swears. but he's like, hey, take it easy. You got a kid over here. Oh, sorry, kid. It's like, it's okay. I don't mind. It's like, and everyone's just like, yeah, Karen, all right. There's something like really special about that. I thought was really cool.
I do like when the brother and the family are like, who's out there? Like, who are you seeing there? Karen's like, the baseball men. You don't see the baseball men? Cut to Zach Baggins and Ghost Adventures, just like, where the fuck are you, Ghost?
Where are you?
Throw me a strike, Ghost.
Bedazzled jeans.
Put me in, coach. Just like yelling at the Ghost on the baseball field. Come out of the corn.
Take it easy, John Fogerty. God, dang. You're just like you're.
The crew of Ghost Adventures comes here, and like goes into the cornfield,
dude,
punches corn and shit.
Come out of here, Ghost.
The idea of them just like whipping around, just like, phew. He gets to a piece of corn.
Turns out it was corn hitting more corn. Oh, wow.
Oh my god. Oh god, I want that so bad.
Well, let's move on to scene 3. So Ray hears the voice again, which prompts him to drive to Boston to take author Terrence Mann to a Red Sox game, which he envisioned in a dream one night. After much convincing, they arrived at the ball game. At the game, Ray sees a message on the scoreboard telling him to find a 1920s ball player named Archibald Moonlight Graham. Terrence saw it too, and they decide to drive to Minnesota to find him.
So, okay, well, the whole point of this book, the school kind of assembly book burning agenda thing is just to introduce the character of Terrence Mann.
I think so. I think it's one to give Amy Madigan like a moment, which I fucking love.
It is great. She does really good in it.
Like when she slides out of the room and like hits the locker.
Dude,
it's like, yeah.
It's like the 60s all over again.
Yeah, I think that's one moment. But I do think you're right. I think essentially it sort of provides a little bit of backstory on Terrence Mann, which is weird because this is pre-internet age. So everybody thought Terrence Mann was like a real author that they just didn't know about.
Right. It was supposed to be J.D. Salinger, like legitimately.
Yeah, and so they call it Terrence Mann, but it's got such a deep backstory and there's so much information about him that people are like, he's got to be real, right? Terrence Mann. I thought Terrence Mann was a real author. Based on this movie.
It's cool. I mean, like it was like they're both of their favorite authors, you know, like I believe that because of the backstory we got of them going to Berkeley and hanging out with each other and reading and smoking pot and shit. I like that about it. I do like the aspect of her standing up for these books, you know, where she's like one of the ladies, the shithead lady comments is like, yeah, well, your husband's crazy because he's building a baseball field in the corn or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's a stone cold fact. It's not even like a burn.
It's like
that's literally what's happening. I don't.
Yeah, you know, it's like the telltale sign is that when somebody just knows that they're losing an argument or probably in the wrong, and they just go straight to insults.
You play ball like a girl.
Yeah. And it is a really powerful moment and like for her character especially, and I think it shows like how it gives a little bit more character development to her character. And just her open-mindedness and where she came from, you know, how she grew up and, you know, what she did in the 60s. And I really like this scene a lot. To think about your question, if it's just to introduce Terrence Mann, it seems like it's the only route.
Yeah,
I mean, only path how we got there.
The first few times I watched it, I was wrestling with myself on my mind. I'm like, that's it though. Like this is just the scene to introduce him, and that's it. But like, how else are they gonna do it? I guess like,
well, you
want some character moments. You want to develop a story a little bit more. We want to get to know Amy Madigan's character a little bit more. Why don't we just do it like this? I totally get it. I was a little conflicted about it at first, but now I'm not.
Yeah.
I will come back to that later, I think, of what the importance of that scene is later, I think. But we obviously get James Earl Jones again, who's making his third appearance, by the way.
Yeah.
Sandlot, Coming to America, but he's literally in two of the most famous baseball movies ever. And like we talked about in The Sandlot, dude hates baseball. Like
crazy.
literally just
Isn't
has
it
no
crazy?
passion or concern for the sport of
Do
baseball
we
whatsoever.
know what sport he likes at all?
No, I don't know.
Is it out there?
Star Wars?
I wonder. I wonder. Maybe
Yeah,
it's fencing.
Yeah, fencing. I don't know. Fencing is a good one.
Thanks.
That's nice. But yeah, isn't it crazy though that he's so involved in these two baseball movies and known for these like passionate speeches about the sport of baseball.
Yeah.
And maybe that just proves how unbelievable an actor is.
I was just gonna say.
I fucking love James Earl Jones.
He like the man to his detriment has become synonymous with baseball.
like, whatever.
And like he's like, stop. He is basically Terrence Mann of
Yes.
baseball. He's
Yes.
like, stop quoting me as like loving baseball. I don't like baseball, damn it. I gave that up. I ran the home office for damn baseball.
Did you actually know Babe Ruth? Don't stop asking
Stop
me that.
asking me if I actually know
Do you
it.
like dogs?
I'm not actually I'm not actually blind either. It's like, God,
I can see you.
I'm just
But
a
he's-
freaking actor.
Fuck, he is so good though. Like how he flips on a dime so many times in this movie. Like he'll be so angry and then he's like, "Want a cup of coffee? Want some
Yeah.
cookies?"
Oh,
And-
what can I get you?
And even I'm telling you, they get to Fenway, and like this might be my favorite scene of the movie when Ray's like,
Yes.
"Hey, what do you want?" And Terrence Mann says, "I want them to stop looking to me for answers, begging me to speak again, write again, be a leader. I want them to start thinking for themselves. I want my privacy." No, I mean, like, what do you want?
you
like,
want?
oh,
And the three
Dog and a
guys are
beer.
standing
Dog and a
there.
beer.
yeah, like
Three guys.
The three guys are watching him, and he just got done with his passionate speech and goes, "Oh, yeah, dog and a beer, I guess."
So 2 beers and 2 hot dogs were $7.
$7.
in 1989.
Yeah.
Which is probably very expensive.
That's
right
probably at Fenway Park. Let's say that's $40. Probably
now, probably
2 hot dogs and 2 beers.
AJ's doing it.
I'll
and
get
like
you.
good and like good ballpark beers
Yes.
too. You know.
Oh
Yep. $7 in 1989 is this is taking forever, guys.
Oh, jeez.
I'm so sorry. That ain't right. $7 is in today's money. Actually, that's much better than I thought. $17.26.
Okay.
So product has gone up way too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say 'Cause that would be a lot more.
Are you?
Nice.
Yeah, like, and those weren't big beers, mind you. If you see that cup he put up there, it was probably like, it was at best a 16-ounce beer.
True.
Looked like a 12-ouncer. So let's just say that 2 12-ounce beers, 2 dogs. Let's say the dogs are probably a deal at like $6 a pop, maybe 5. There's 10. The beers are gonna be $8 a piece.
Oh, yeah.
Dead minimum. Those are $10 beers. Those
Maybe
are $10
12.
beers. 10, 20, 30. That's
There you go.
$35.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. It's outrageous nowadays. Like, come on, let's get back. Let's get
Surprised
back
if
to
they're
it.
not charging for fucking condiments at this point.
So you kind of brought it up in the beginning of this that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were in the
Supposedly, yeah.
in the crowd there. But I did think it was cool. There was another story that I read of I think Phil Robinson directed The Sum of All Fears, which
Yes.
Ben Affleck was in. And Ben Affleck came up to him and was like, "Hey, good to work with you again." And Phil Robinson's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, and then he explained the story. He was like, "I was an extra in Boston when you filmed Field of Dreams."
Which obviously means like at some point Phil stood up to address the crowd to be like, "Here's what we
For
need
sure.
from you. Just pretend." And so
Yeah.
Ben's like,
Hey,
"I'm in a
thanks.
movie."
So that's really cool. I like that a lot. How it's like, and like even Kevin Costner still gets today. Like, did you know that those 2 superstars
Like,
who were in the
no.
crowd? Like,
Why would
how
I
would everyone
fucking
ever
know that?
How would I know that? I'm Kevin Costner.
Why would I know that? Yeah.
I haven't developed a sniffing problem yet.
Duh.
But it is cool. So like he takes them back, and I love how they sort of their conversation is sort of developed into more of a friendship. Like, what did the voice say? It said, "The man's done enough," and they shake hands,
Yeah.
and and then you get to that. That moment scared me every time I saw it as a kid.
Go the
When that
distance.
car turns around.
Yeah,
Like what? Why is that so scary? Is it the noise? Because it does make like a,
yeah.
and the headlights are reflecting in
It's
his.
just the way he's standing there too. He's like emotionless
I mean,
still, and yeah, it's
It's,
ominous.
it's because he knows. It's because he knows. And he's also been given now the cold shoulder because you see it at the field.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch back, there is a moment that you can tell when the when the baseball sign is flickering and showing everything, and it reflects, and you see Terrence Mann just go a little bit more rigid.
Just a little bit.
And it just speaks to his acting, to James Earl Jones acting one more time, right? Of just how amazingly subtle that moment has to be. Think about how many times you could potentially have to reshoot that because you tell him you were too obvious that time. Think about how often that could have happened. So, and then you see it, and the fact that he knows, but he's been told now by Ray, nope, maybe I just don't need you anymore because you didn't hear it. You didn't hear it, so I must not need you anymore. I'm so sorry I wasted your time.
He's contemplating whether he's going to tell him or not.
And then
how
he's
far
like,
does he want to go down this hole?
I have to stop him because I heard it. I know what I heard, and Ray's lying to me about it now.
I have to say too, that is like an undirectable sort of thing for a director to say to an actor. Like, I guess it could be in the script, or the director could just say, you too see it, and you realize exactly what the character of Ray is realizing in this moment. That's what you would say to an actor to do that, but you can't you can't have them articulate their face well enough like James Earl Jones would do.
We can articulate
an
it.
Actor's choice.
Yeah, we can articulate it because we've seen it happen now.
Exactly.
Like, how do you articulate that to make it happen?
Hey, give me your best in this instance. It takes me 10 minutes to even explain the context to you, kind of thing.
Right.
That's just an actor being brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, scene 4, Ray and Terrence travel to Chisholm, Minnesota, but find out that Moonlight Graham has been dead since 1972. On a walk, Ray discovers he's been transported back in time and gets to meet Moonlight Graham. He tries to convince him to come to Iowa, but he will not leave. On the drive home, they pick up a hitchhiker who turns out to be a young Moonlight Graham. This got me this time around when they're talking to people about Moonlight Graham. They found out he died. Especially the old man who talks about the blue hats.
Yeah.
Like you see that in his eyes of like how fondly he thinks of this man. And I remember thinking, man, what an incredible actor who was this old guy? But then you read that there actually was an Archibald Moonlight Graham, and the people that Terrence Mann is interviewing in the bar were people who knew the real Doc Graham. Mm-hmm. And so they found out about the movie and the inclusion of Doc Graham, and they drove from Chisholm, Minnesota to Iowa, and the stories they were actually sharing were true stories about Moonlight Graham.
It's really cool.
Real people sharing real stories.
Yes. It's sort of like, it felt like Interstellar a little bit, like the old people saying the old, and you're like, how did this really happen? Like, they're so believable.
Just injecting this sort of realism into this movie, especially this movie that's kind of outlandish in its plot of like ghosts coming to play in a cornfield, these real people talking about this real person and telling it so convincingly that, you as a viewer, like you were watching, were just like, they seem real. And then they are. It just makes it even more tangible. Makes you feel like you can grasp this movie a little bit more than you could if it was just kind of just a ghost story.
It's incredibly grounding.
Yeah.
For the story. You're right. It's incredibly grounding because you can tell that those people aren't actors. Like there's that little bit of a titch, like that you catch that you're thinking that they don't have the actor's cadence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I like that.
But you love it because you're like, God, that's honest.
They don't have to act because this is the truth.
No, this is the truth. I just need you to tell the story.
Myself too, where I'm just like, I'm sure at their age they're not like as maybe they are aware of James Earl Jones, but like they're like, yeah, come to Iowa and tell us stories about your friend. And like, okay, sounds good. Who's interviewing us? James Earl Jones.
Who?
What?
I'm sorry, what?
You mean the guy in the new movie with the stars and the wars?
You mean
the Stars and the Wars? My grandson loves that movie.
So you mean to tell me that you're going to come here about a baseball movie about an unknown baseball player and have Darth Vader interview us?
Well, not
Gotcha.
What they don't know either is that he doesn't fucking like baseball. So I'm sure James Earl Jones like, okay, so this Archibald dude, what the fuck about him now?
Oh my god. Oh my god, whatever.
You know what though? The end of that when that old gentleman just says, "Bet you didn't know that about him." And James Earl Jones is looking back at him with his glasses off. He says, "No, I didn't." And you're just like,
what a moment.
God, I
Bet
got
you didn't
choked
know
up,
that, did
man.
you? Yeah. That's who plays old Moonlight Doc Graham?
Burt Lancaster.
Man, like he nails it for me.
I agree.
I don't know what it is. Either all of a sudden it's transported back. Which, by the way, that was Galena.
Galena, Illinois.
Wow, go to Galena if you're
Gorgeous
if you're ever
little town.
making the trip
Super cool.
here to Field of Dreams. Like obviously, go on to Galena, Illinois. It's right across the border.
Stop in Dubuque as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Great places in there. But yeah, Galena is amazing.
And it all makes sense now that you said that. But he knocks this out of the park, man. Like he really shows you the good guy that this Doc Graham was. And here's where I think there's some underlying tones of this movie of what you don't pick up unless you're really studying this. Like Moonlight Graham has that conversation about how he got in, he was playing baseball, and at the time I didn't think much of it. I thought there'd be more. There'd be another chance, and then there wasn't, right? And he says you don't recognize the most significant moments of your lives as it happens. Thought there'd always be other days. Didn't realize that was the only day. Like that is a deep lesson to when you think, oh, there'll be more time. There's more time. I got more time to do that stuff, and then you don't. Yeah. And it's such a deep cut, which I think is one of the underlying themes of this movie is just that, like, take it as you got it. Do everything full speed because you never know when another path is going to call you, and he's so passionate about his being a doctor. He won't leave town. He's like, no, this is where I got to be. Passionate about my wife, passionate about my job and my patients, but man, I loved baseball.
Well, and I think it's maybe this is where the message becomes possibly the most powerful. And I love that they're more than willing to run over all of the fantastical aspects of this and not feel the need to explain them. It felt like it almost gets to so they could get to this point now where they can literally express to you, like what James Earl Jones is saying at one point. He says, well, of course, like, think about what would have happened if he did get one more chance to bat. All the people in this town would have been changed dramatically because this Doc Brown didn't show up and potentially save lives.
All the good
cure
he did,
illness, help a kid. Maybe he helped other kids from not choking. Maybe he helped lots of kids and people live better lives who went on to better things because he didn't get that second chance, next at bat, or play baseball, continue to play baseball.
And it's symbolism of being a parent too, of giving up hopes and dreams and being like unselfish for the first time in your life because now you have to take care of kids and a family, which is what his dad did.
Right.
His dad gave up all of his hopes and dreams to raise Ray, and that is what essentially Moonlight Graham did, to just say, I got to give up all my dreams because I have more important things to take care of.
Right.
It's deeper, I feel, than you can really see it on the surface.
But it's also pointing into the fact, like, giving those dreams up, maybe, but not forgetting about them.
Yes.
Because Ray is fulfilling one of his
Yes.
dreams now. Like, literally making a call to his dream that's calling to him to do it, and the people in his life are supporting it too. So I think that's another thing about this movie. When I said, I only got like the father-son aspect from it, I guess it is also as well as just keeping those dreams in mind and not letting, however crazy they are, get in the way of like kind of a, just get in the way at all. Like keep those, like do whatever you need to do, keep those in mind and maybe fulfill those one day.
Yeah. I think, and I think this is that point. See, I didn't forget.
There it is.
That I really came to realize that it's the moment in all these people's lives when they didn't get to play baseball anymore. That's when he is finding them, or when they are coming to him to play this field again. And that's what makes the meaning of this movie is the Field of Dreams. It's to make their dreams of baseball come true again. because they never got to fulfill their dreams of playing big major league ball or continue to play baseball. You know, why don't we have a stage of dreams, guys? So I can just go.
Come on.
Why can't I do that?
No one's build it.
Somebody please build a stage of dreams
Gabe's
so I can
Oasis
come.
in Iowa City.
And you're damn right.
Stage of dreams.
It's the stage of dreams, so you can go and play again for people.
Yeah.
Play music. Yeah.
I do like the aspect of what they kind of gloss over, where it's like he says to James Earl Jones' character, he's like, "You're missing." What? So something like his son or something was like, "Dad, where the fuck?" Like, he's not answering his calls. He's not. I sent a letter to him. He's not even answering any of those.
He's
It's like,
elderly.
I better make a call. I was like, yeah, I bet you. Yeah, you should. Fucking asshole. Damn.
Did you hear the theory that maybe Terrence Mann's actually dead?
I believe it.
I've heard that maybe Ray is dead.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Everybody's dead?
Everybody's dead.
Oh.
Everyone is dead.
Every movie theater is just that they were dead. It was all a dream.
Everyone is dead.
Well, Terrence Mann is kind of interesting though, because he's been reported as missing.
Yeah.
He's been kind of a recluse. Like, I could maybe see how perhaps
maybe Ray did actually kidnap him and maybe accidentally kill him.
Maybe he had a gun in his pocket.
Yeah.
You're a pacifist.
Cut
Got him.
Ghost with Patrick Swayze.
the clay pot scene.
Yeah.
Just Terrence Mann
Terrence
and Ray.
Mann and Ray
just
Kinsella.
going,
He cuts to.
Oh my God. I've always wanted this.
You talking about? Wait, I just want to make sure that this is a clear picture for everyone. That Shaun is making sure that you're able to picture Kevin Costner being cradling James Earl Jones'
Yep.
hands,
And
forming pottery,
making a baseball out of pottery.
making a baseball bat
Yep.
out of this
Gross.
with a baseball tip.
We're moving on.
All I've been thinking about all day.
We're
since
moving
we've been
on,
here.
guys.
I don't know.
Fantastic! Congrats.
Thanks, man.
The final scene 5. Back in Iowa, Moonlight Graham joins the game and does well. Karen falls off the bleachers and Moonlight runs to help and is transformed to his elderly self. Terrence is invited into the cornfield and a younger version of Ray's dad appears. They talk and have a catch. People begin to arrive at the field as Karen has prophesized.
So Ray says something he's talking to James Earl Jones after they picked up Frank Wiley.
Archie.
Yeah.
Graham.
He's explaining to James Earl Jones' character that Terrence Mann. He's like, I said something awful to my father, like as soon as the last time I saw him or something, and then he kind of shuts up, and it cuts to them driving by at night, and 6 hours later, what was it you said to your dad?
He's been thinking about it forever.
What the fuck?
He's been thinking about it forever, man.
There's a lot of time cuts, man.
Well, he's a little
It's
old.
a long drive
He
from
took a
Boston,
nap, and he's
Iowa.
like, "Oh fuck, I'm sorry, I fell asleep, man. What were you saying about
You
your
were
dad?"
talking and I fell asleep. That's my
I
fault.
thought you weren't interested. I opened the door for you to ask, and you never did. That's Boston to Iowa is probably like a 22-hour drive or something like that.
That's got to be an intense drive.
And then I have to imagine too, where he calls Amy Madigan. Hopefully she gets happy again. That we got to stop in Minnesota. Oh, good. Yeah. I'll just I'll take care of the farm.
Cool, I'll just go
I'll
fuck
take out
myself.
another loan. I'll put the barn up. All the barn animals up for collateral for
Right.
a mortgage payment and everything. That's fine. You just go to Minnesota. You go do your thing with Terrence Mann.
Oh, you
the
gotta
author.
go. Oh, you gotta go to Minnesota. You gotta go to Minnesota. Yeah, that's cool. No, you go to Minnesota, and I will just continue to stave my brother and his vulture friends off. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Sounds
Cool.
real good.
Yeah.
I love Ray Liotta in this scene too. When Archie actually shows up, Ray Liotta walks past him and just kind of stares him down as he walks past, like rookie.
Shoot the rookies.
Rookies. And then you even get that moment where Mark walks across the field in the middle of the
love
game.
that.
Because he doesn't see the baseball players playing, and that is I don't know how many times they would have done that scene, but that is a perfectly timed pitch Like Mark just passes the line and the ball goes behind him, and what's he doing? He's walking through the field.
So this will raise a question that what makes it so Mark can see them now? Why can some people see them and some cannot? Why can they see him and he cannot at one point? What is it that changes that he can now see them?
I don't know.
It's never explained.
No.
I will tell you, I'll tell you what was explained to me when I was a kid. I don't know why somebody decided to tell me this when I was a kid. But do you have anything, Shaun? Or is there anything like you think of?
I'm trying to think of a joke. Just keep going.
Okay, that's fine. Somebody told me that he couldn't see them until he saw or experienced the prospect of death. And I don't know if has any validity or not.
But when did he experience that?
When Karen fell
almost died
and was
sure.
almost dying because
Okay.
she was choking.
I always thought it was because Archie Graham now has come into the real realm of the world from the ghost field. He crossed that line, and now he is a physical being in this world that he now sees him. So maybe now he's able to see the rest of the players.
But all he would have seen at that point is another ghost version of Archie Graham.
Yes. But he's
Not
still
not the young version. That old version is still another ghost version.
Correct, yeah.
So why is he able to see this other ghost version and not the
crossed
baseball
that
version?
plane of rocks or whatever, that little
I guess.
invisible plane that everybody's scared to walk over.
Yeah.
I
don't
do
know.
also like when Karen. I mean, I don't like, but like when Karen falls. Not Shoeless Joe. What's his damn name? Fucking Moonlight. Moonlight's like, was that a fallen child I heard?
He sort of does. He steps out of the line to see
everything. It's like he just walks right over and has a satchel that he doesn't use. Like, oh well, this child's choking. Yeah, you fucking right as rain.
Slap that kid up and down. Just there we go.
I just love how he deals with like doctors back then were just like beat it out of him.
Yeah.
Here's some whiskey.
Yep.
Haptic feedback. Let's go.
But it is kind of cool how they all treated him as this rookie and kind of gave him shit and hazed him a little bit, and now he's the old Doc, and it's very reverent in how they speak to him, like Doc.
Yeah.
Doc.
Right.
Everybody
Way to
head
go,
nods
Doc.
on way to go, Doc, and
Yeah.
and that cool moment, Shoeless Joe's like, hey, you were good, like, and that smile on his face, like, this was everything I ever wanted.
It
was to
is-
spend one day batting the ball around with some of the best players in the world and have them think I was relevant and I did something.
And
good.
that's how
It
you
was
know
the dream for him.
That's how you know that it's Iowa and not heaven, because that's it for him.
Yeah.
It just goes. I would figure in heaven you're just like, well, I'll just come back tomorrow and I'll be young again and I'll be able to play with you guys, and like you would think, right? You would hope
I
in
guess,
heaven
but no,
that would be the
some weird rules of how now you're old and you can't go back to being young.
like,
even though
there are rules.
No.
there's
This
sounds like
isn't
Iowa to
Nom,
me.
guys. These are rules. Okay.
well,
So
it just begs so many questions. Like, what is in that corn?
well,
Like, where does Terrence Mann actually go? Like, is he only allowed to go there because he is dead? And like, is that some weird purgatory place where everybody just hangs out? And because you would think it's like heaven, but why would they ask if this was heaven if they came? It's kind of a bit of a mind trip to understand where they even came from or where they're going back to.
yeah, and I think the idea that we don't see Terrence Mann again certainly
know.
adds to the mystery.
What does he actually come back
Right.
to write the story that he's so excited about? And that's what you talk about again. Some more underlying meanings. You see all these people that are affected by this. We talked about Moonlight Graham teaching us the lesson to like always live every day. Like you never know when you won't have another chance to do something like this. Mm-hmm. I think Terrence Mann teaches us to not lose the magic, not lose the spark of life. Like don't become old and jaded like keep doing what you're good at and keep pushing the line of creativity, and don't become a recluse. Like give your gifts to the world, because he did that and then he faded away from that. And now he's got this excitement back in his life of like he's so happy now compared to how he was when we first met him, and he's giddy and he goes to the corn and he's gonna write a story about it, and he's back.
He was denying himself.
Yes.
Every you see it at every aspect of this movie when he is asked about what he's done and what he wants to do and what he likes out of life, and he denies it every step of the way. I never gave that interview. I never said that about baseball. I don't want to go to a baseball game. I want people to leave me alone. I don't want to write anymore. And like it is. It's that whole thing. He's denying himself. He's become so jaded that he's denying himself, and you can't do that. And that's the lesson. Like you're saying, all these characters are all giving us these lessons. That's what I took away from his lesson.
I will say hippies are pretty insufferable.
Oh, 100%. And they smell.
Yes.
You know?
You ever been to a fucking Grateful Dead concert?
So they're asking, is this heaven?
Incredibly nice.
Like, no, it's Iowa. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. So if this isn't heaven, if the cornfield isn't heaven, then let me just postulate that where they are is just an everlasting locker room.
Oh, okay.
And it's just dudes like in jock straps going like You ready to throw some balls out there today, AJ?
Yeah, I can't wait. We only got about another 18 hours before we can go back.
Gross. I don't like this. So that's why they think of cornfields like this is the greatest place I've ever been.
As soon as they get out of the locker room, they're like, this is the best.
Well, you have to ask yourself, like, it also shows, like, they just came back. It's not that they were in heaven. You have to ask yourself, well, where are they? Because, hey, do you want to come with us? We don't know where they're going.
Nope, they don't.
Because, and I think that fact that they're asking that question altogether means that they're not really, they don't know, or they don't know if they are in heaven or going back to heaven and coming to Iowa. Why are they asking, is this heaven?
Yeah.
Why are they asking that?
Yeah.
They aren't coming from heaven?
I think that's kind of the magic of it. Is that we don't get answers to any of this stuff. I kind of like that in this sense. Sometimes I do want answers. Sometimes in this, I'm just like, I don't know, but I believe it. I'm whatever.
It's true. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing how many questions you're not trying to ask yourself throughout this movie. Mm-hmm. It really is amazing how many times you're not trying to ask yourself. I think it's because they move on so quickly.
They do.
And they don't pay any mind to it. And and they're asking enough questions for us that we don't need to ask anymore. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. Yeah. Okay, great. I'm good with that. We just move on. It's very interesting.
And Dad comes in, and it's very emotional. He's like, you want to have a catch?
Tell you
what,
what,
guys cry?
man.
No.
I did. Bawled my eyes out at the end of this movie.
There are different watches that, like, I probably came very close. I think it's very interesting because you kind of think about that. I think about the lost pastime of I did play Little League, and I used to have a glove and a bat and balls that we could go out and play with at any given time. And if you ask me now, it would probably be an example like what we saw out there that I don't know if I can even run and catch and hit a ball anymore, And I think that's another part of this that, if you have a kid or planning to have kids, that to have a catch is probably a special thing because of whether or not how much you can really do at that point in your life. So yeah, there was a couple moments that it definitely hit me though throughout this movie. But no, I didn't cry like an absolute baby like Mike. It just admitted.
I was a fucking bubbling mess. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, it
hits you though, man.
Dude,
it really does.
I have and have always had an incredible relationship with my dad. He's an incredible dad, and I love him to death. And so this doesn't affect me in the way of like, oh, I never got to tell my dad that I love him, But that's such a special bond of father son, and now I want to make the right decisions for my daughter Willa, and I want to make sure that she and myself have a tight bond for the rest of our lives, and they talk about the guy that did play the dad, Dwyer Brown. He apparently was notified that his father passed away right before filming, and so he went to the funeral and then traveled directly from the funeral to filming for this scene. Can you you could see it in his
What's
face.
my motivation?
Yeah. You already got it.
Yeah, you got it, and I feel like you can see it in that scene, and it's impressive. And actually, being from Iowa, I did talk to 3 different people in the last couple of weeks and told them I was going to Field of Dreams and doing the movie, and they told me that when they were kids, they were in the car lineup as that final that final shot comes out. Yeah, they said that was like a huge deal in town. That pretty much everyone in town came out here. They blacked out the power grid in Dyersville, which is further in the distance, so that you could just see those cars, and it's like a very proud moment for this community.
As we were pulling up, I'm like, "Is this the road, AJ? You think this is the road?" I was like, "It's got to be. It's the only road."
It's funny. I made the joke you can tell because of the way that it is, and then it was like a joke, but at the same time, you're like. Yeah, no, you absolutely can because of the route that road takes
you
up
could
to
even
this
see
farm.
Even on your map, it was just that's that curve.
That's the one.
I recognize it, from that, and there was 1,500 people or cars or whatever that were lining this road up to this place. They blacked it out. It was a town meeting,
and I guess they were
excited
stood still, right?
Yeah,
they weren't actually driving.
They were just flipping on their brights,
which makes sense because they had to keep doing that shot a couple times. I'm guessing
it's not like they actually have anywhere to go.
Yes,
but at the same time, you think about that there is a lot of community behind that, and to make that work that's really special.
Well, you guys got anything else?
That's it.
Before we give modern day ratings, real quick, we got to give a huge shout out to Driving Cap Digital Marketing. They're the ones that do our website and update our ratings every week on that website that you guys get to check out. When you work with Driving Cap Digital Marketing, you are guaranteed to have an amazing experience. They handle all aspects of your internet presence, from websites and e-commerce stores to social media management and copywriting. They even have a graphics department dedicated to custom logos, templates, t-shirt designs, and all forms of print media. Want to measure your website's success? They offer free analytics and reporting on every website they build. With offices around the country and design projects worldwide, no projects out of reach. They have also worked with all kinds of businesses, from touring rock bands in Australia to record labels in Boston to the #1 steakhouse in Tempe, Arizona. They've designed websites for refrigeration companies, custom guitar builders, automotive fabricators, sushi bars, Airbnbs, and so much more. They even help the Best Damn Movie Review podcast on a regular basis. That is us, you guys.
Let's go.
The best part, they offer 100% free quotes on all projects. Just go to drivingcapdigital.com, check out their latest work, and request a free quote. Whenever you need a website created from scratch, whether you need a website created from scratch or are looking for a rebrand, Driving Cap is there for you. Driving business, driving passion, Driving Cap. All right, we have dissected this movie with a modern eye. We got to give it a modern day rating. AJ, you get to go first on this one. What do you got, man?
Go first, AJ.
Guys, I need to make sure that I say this. That I do think that this is a movie that is really hard not to get emotional about, whether you're a baseball person or not. And I say that before Shaun's rating of this, but I really do. I think that there's something behind this for a lot of different folks. And the movie itself, I think it always makes me think about my years trying to play baseball. I played Little League. I was not good at it. I had a hell of a time, but I still had those moments that you're able to go and play catch with your dad or do something along those lines. And my dad brought me back a baseball from Field of Dreams, when I was a little kid, and I didn't understand, really what it meant that there was a big, Hollywood movie that was filmed right here in Iowa, only a couple hours from where we lived. And that's a big deal. And I still have it somewhere in that little plastic clear case, baseball case. that I got to dig it up. And so there is something very special about this movie. I think it's really tough not to find something to be emotional about in this movie. It will dig up all the feels, and I think the performances are wonderful. Beyond that, I really do think that there's something special about this place, and it reminds you how special it really is to be from this state. And
it's all we got, man.
You know, it's all we got.
The only thing we got.
We got corn, we got some baseball, and the Field of Dreams. But you know, I do. I think it's something really special that, for at least a glimpse, you know, people recognize, you know, there is something special about this area. And if you get a chance to come here, I really hope that you take the opportunity. Beyond that, I do think it's probably one of the best baseball movies that's out there. I'm trying to remember what I gave Sandlot.
Sorry, I can't tell you.
I know. And so...
Yeah, I can. You want to know?
I would like to know.
AJ, you gave Sandlot an 8.5.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense. And for me, I think that this falls about right in line with that. So I think I'm going to match that at an 8.5.
8.5 for age. Shaun, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's cool being here. It's really cool being inside the house and being able to run the bases and get some time with under the lights and everything. As far as the movie goes, I do think the performances are really great. I really do like Kevin Costner in this. I'm excited to get to more of his good performances later on in the show. Amy Madigan is underrated in this.
100%.
I really like her a lot. Burt Lancaster, great fucking choice. James Earl Jones, always good. I think the writing, the script is solid. It's really, really fun story to follow along. And I agree with, I think it's Roger Ebert, who's like, we don't make stories like this anymore. Like without, it's got to be a fantastical element, or it's got to focus on that, and it's got to be that, or it's got to be real. You know, there's no injection of like a real story with a supernatural element to it, and the story treats it as like it's just fine. I like that about this movie a lot. I do think the pastime of baseball is kind of timeless and sticks with you, but it just does not do it for me, guys. I really just kind of think this movie is fine, and I think maybe more subsequent watches for me as I get older might increase this rating a little bit. But as I watch this movie today, it is a fine movie. It's a movie that I could put on and fall asleep to. It is a movie that I put on and did fall asleep to in these rewatches. But this is just a movie to me. This is a 7.
I thought just a movie was 6.5 for you.
6.5. Let's go ahead.
Damn it, Michael. What are you doing?
I'm asking Shaun what he wants.
Wow, dude.
6.5?
6. Let's split the difference. 6.7.
6.8. All right.
6.8. Gotcha. I don't know, guys. I seem to love this movie more and more every time I watch it. Maybe it's me getting older. Maybe it's the lessons that I feel like I've found in deeper meanings of this. Maybe it's having a daughter. Maybe it's being here. Maybe it's what it represents for the state of Iowa. But I've said everything I said in the review. I think this movie's amazing. I think it's a great lesson. And very rarely in a movie like this am I just like fine with. I'm just like, I'm fine. I don't need an answer for that. Usually I'm like, give me an answer for that. This movie, I just don't care. I'm an 8.7 on this one.
Wow.
Executive producer Josh Miller says, I can't really say this movie gets better every time I watch it, but it definitely doesn't get any worse. I feel like this movie will be an 8.2 the rest of my life. I know I gave my modern score already. Sure, this movie could be overwatched, but it's not a movie that you will watch on repeat or regularly. It's either a movie you watch once, say it was good, and never watch again. While it may not be loved, I can't imagine someone hating it. At worst, it's a Shaun 6.5. It's a movie. Wow.
Holy shit, dude.
Its best is anything above that, and that's okay. It's a movie you don't watch for years and catch it on TBS or TNT, looking at you, AJ, and finish it and say, man, I like that movie. or you meet someone that has never seen it and watch it with them. I feel like it's timeless. Sure, the movie is showing its age, but that's because it was made 35 years ago, but it also hasn't aged a day. Does that make any sense? Hell, even the book banning censorship has once again become relevant. And while I knew this was going in, the underlying plot details only grab me more with every watch. This movie really hits home with me as I've grown up and my dad has gotten older. All of those sports I mentioned above, my dad was instrumental with my success and failures, all of them, and I've never turned down a catch with my dad. As he approaches 80 and lives 2,000 miles away from me, it's hard to stomach that I may have had my last catch with him. He still has catches with local kids and the adults who suck at throwing, as he puts it. If I have had my last catch with him already, I won't have to live the rest of my life knowing I left saying something I'll regret. Lastly, I've become so much more aware of how I think and watch movies. Can I change a score to a previous movie that I've reviewed now that you guys have done it?
Sure.
I want to change my score to basketball. It was my first choice as an executive producer. It was the first movie chosen by us as executive producers.
Yeah.
The excitement of choosing a movie, becoming a regular part of the show, it being one of my favorites of all time, and getting to hear you guys talk about it. I was drunk on power. AJ changing his score for Just Friends really hit home for me. So if I can, I want
It does for a lot of people, I hope.
I want to change my basketball score from a 10 to an 8.19.
Okay.
So
Josh.
first of all, so we're allowing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, this movie comes in at an 8.03.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams comes in at an
All
8.03. So
I
hang
love
on,
that.
hang on a second here. Fellas, that's going to take it to the number 33 spot. Just below Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Happy Gilmore, and The Matrix. Just above Karate Kid, Beetlejuice, American Graffiti is where that's going to lie.
Wow.
I
wow.
like that. That feels good.
Yeah.
Now, to address basketball,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 10 for basketball.
10, Josh.
Boy, oh boy.
What did he say? He's going to, I get it. Drunk on
no, we
power.
get it.
Hey,
Excited.
dude, you were spot on with my deal about Just Friends. What the hell was I thinking?
These movies
I'm not
get
saying,
us excited, dude.
I'm not
totally
saying what
get
the
it.
hell were you thinking. I'm just saying, like, you're right. You know, sometimes we get a little drunk on power.
Cobra.
So-
Cobra's a, what,
There you go.
9 for me or some shit?
I hope so.
So our scores were very low on that. So he takes us down to a group 6.32 for a modern day rating. Basketball currently sits at a 6.78. So that's going to drop it down to number 101, just below Mallrats, just above Weekend at Bernie's.
Wow.
Feels right, doesn't it?
That feels better.
Feels really good, actually.
Yeah.
Good job, Josh.
Well done, man.
Well, we hope you enjoyed being here for the episode. We're so glad you were here. Tune in next week. We do Young Guns, followed by Spooky Season.
Woo! Let's go,
We're
baby.
starting off a huge lineup of October movies and brunches with Shaun of the Dead. Going to be a
Okay.
good
Oh,
one.
yeah. Okay. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
back
good.
up, baby.
Also, if
Let's
you're
go.
new to the podcast, go back this time last year. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was our episode.
It's been a year.
Yes, it has.
Wow.
Controversial.
That is crazy.
Just movies, though, so it's fine.
But what's not crazy, guys, is you hanging out with us this entire time, us recording inside the Field of Dreams house, doing this episode live for you. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. Make sure you catch us on some social media at Confused Breakfast. Just search for Confused Breakfast, guys, anywhere for that. Make sure you're watching us inside the Field of Dreams house on YouTube, because it's going to be on YouTube. I think it's that camera right there. And and last but not least, please leave us a 5-star review, because we would really appreciate that. Write us a review too, because we love to read them in the pastime, just like baseball.
Go to Confused Breakfast. Actually, before this, we didn't do a prop. I'm not sure we can pick a prop because
No.
a lot of them are here, and
No.
we could actually steal them.
We're
and take
actually
them.
walking away with a great gift basket from the Field of Dreams movie site.
Yeah.
True.
That's
They've
our
been
props.
wonderful
We
folks.
literally already have our props.
No.
Go to confusedbreakfast.com and get some of your own props of our show. You can get some shirts, you can get some stickers, you can get some koozies. I think you can get some buttons that say, "Where are the parents?" Go to confusedbreakfast.com and also see all the ratings that we have of all the movies we've ever done individually and as a show together. I love you. Whatever you can do and dream it, you can do it. I love you. Bye.
2 ways to support this podcast. 1, check out our sponsors of these episodes directly. Every Plate, Cedar Ridge Whiskey, Driving Cap Digital Media. You got to check those guys out. Number 2, go to patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. Support this show. Sponsor this show directly. You get a ton of extra perks. And we are produced by Upload Media Group. Craig and Logan came all the way out here to make this happen and to help us do this. Uploadmediagroup.com, and we are part of the Cloud 10 iHeart Podcast Network. Learn more at cloud10.fm.
That's it, man.
If you end it, we will go.
If you press stop record, we will actually stop recording.
Ease his pain. Ease Craig's pain.